What's up, fuckers? Just kidding, I'm just kidding. Hi, everybody. It's a PC, aka Harley again, and I know you're like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of video is this? Like, you don't post this shit. Like, what are you doing? Well, you see, I've been wanting to do this for a hot second. I love paranormal shit. I've been meaning to do this for a little bit now, but I just have never got around to it until tonight, so here the fuck we are. Now, I have personally always been super duper into the paranormal shit. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I always thought it was so interesting, you know. And not only do I believe in fucking ghosts, like, slash spirits, fucking whatever you want to call them, fucking cryptology, motherfuckers, Bigfoot, fucking Jersey Devil, mermaids. Mermaids exist. You cannot fucking tell me otherwise. Like, it's just, I just won't hear it. I just won't hear it. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about my own personal paranormal experiences because I don't know, it's just something I've always been into, and I always thought it was fun, and like, I enjoy telling stories even though I'm really bad at them, and especially if it's like some ghost stories or some shit, like spooky shit, you know, that's what's up. So I'm not gonna delay this like intro type beat any longer. We're just gonna get to the story, okay? These stories, my bad, plural, that's plural by the way. Good soup. So as I said, I do have a couple kind of like, you can call them paranormal if you want. I've never personally like seen, well, so I've never seen anything with my eyes. I've never been in like a household where things are being thrown and shit. Well, okay, I've never been in a household where it's like Paranormal Activity, the fucking movie, okay? But I'm going to start with my first ever ghost slash creepy paranormal story ever. So when I was really young, I don't even remember what age I was, but I know I was like really fucking young. My grandma lived in this really old like farmhouse from like the 1800s, or like it might have even been from like the 1700s. It was old as shit. And not only was it old, but it was fucking creepy. My dad told me as I got older that like when he was younger and he like was growing up in the house, like he thought it was haunted. And when I asked him why, he was like, well, I mean, they used to hang people on that property, so like, and I was like, oh, you're just now telling me this? You know how many days I spent in that bitch? But I was young, so like, I don't really remember that much, but I do remember a few stories from that bitch, I'll tell you that right now. But I guess it was like the old, sheriff's house or something like that. It was like a sheriff, or like some big, like, I don't know, townsman, and they had like gallows built into the like on the property because it's like a decently big property. And I guess they only hung a few people there. It wasn't like anything crazy. But then my dad also said like when they were like remodeling the house, like they'd pull up floorboards and shit, and they'd find like little child shoes, like old ass little like kid shoes like under the floorboards. And they found, it was like a chain with like handcuffs on it, I guess. He said he found that under one of the floorboards too. Crazy shit. And then he told me, like, as he was growing up, like, weird things would happen in the house. Things would move by themselves. Doors would slam. Lights would turn on and off. And when my mom moved into that house with him, like, when they first started dating, my mom didn't believe in, like, ghosts or anything. I think she's still kind of skeptical, but she told me, like, she was afraid to be in that house alone. She used to tell me that one time when my dad had, like, left to go to work, she was by herself at the house, and she heard like a bang from the other room, like something fell, and she was like, oh shit. So she like got up and went to go to the other room to check it. Nothing was there, but then she heard behind her the door to the room she was in slammed shut, and she was freaked out because of that. Like, that was a fucking red flag if I've ever heard one. But she seemed to think the same thing. She was like, that's fucking terrifying. The door of the room I was just in just slammed in my face almost. So my mom was like, okay, like maybe it was just like the wind. Like she said that they might have had windows open somewhere and she just like wasn't paying attention. So she was like, okay, it's fine, like you're just scared because you're by yourself in this old creepy house. So then she went back into that room and she like laid down on the bed and she took a nap. I guess she fell asleep. And when she woke up, the TV was on and it was like all staticky and shit. And she was like, I know I didn't turn that TV on. Like, she does not like sleeping with any sounds. She hates the TV. Even now, she hates listening to TV when she's trying to sleep. But she said that this TV thing, it happened constantly. And it wasn't always when she was by herself. Like, it happened when my dad was there too. It'd turn on in front of them. It was weird. Things would fall everywhere. Doors would slam everywhere in the house. And she said that's like kind of the moment when she's like, okay, maybe there's something else going on here that I can't really explain. Now, I've always been a believer, but like when I was really young, I didn't obviously care for ghosts and stuff because I was young. Like when I was like 5, I barely even knew what a ghost was, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. So this leads to my personal story time for this little fucking house, creepy ass little house. So if I'm remembering correctly, the house had, it was a decent sized house. I think it was either two, maybe 3 stories. 2 stories, I think. 2 stories. We'll say 2 stories for now. It was a 2-story house and it was like old fashioned, like I said. And you know how there's like kind of like pillars on the castles and there's like windows and shit in it, but it's like a little circle room off to the side? They had one of those, right? And one time I was staying with my grandma when I was younger and she was like trying to work on her computer or something, or I don't know what she was doing. She was doing some paperwork for her work and she just was trying to distract me. So they had a little TV in the circle room and she put on Stuart Little for me. I loved Stuart Little when I was younger. I remember that specific movie being on. So Stuart Little came on. She set me down. She made me popcorn, okay? She was trying to just get rid of me, make me shut the fuck up. So she put the popcorn in front of me. I'm watching Stuart Little on this little TV, little box TV. I'm minding my damn business. And then I'm like, I'm kind of thirsty. So like, I'm gonna go get a drink of water. My grandma was like upstairs. It was just like me and her in the house. She was upstairs. I was downstairs in the little circle room. And I was like, I'm gonna get a drink of water. The kitchen was like right outside the circle room, so I didn't have to walk far. So I went and I grabbed a cup. I think she had a cup on the counter. So I grabbed a cup off the counter and I like walked up to the fridge and I was filling my water. And then as soon as I was like almost done with my like filling up my water, I heard like a crash. And I remember being like, what the fuck? Like, it scared me. I'm by myself. I thought it was my grandma, but then I was like, oh wait, she's upstairs. So I was like, okay, that's kind of sketchy. But like, I was curious, right? So like, I'm like, okay, I'm just in a silly, goofy mood. So then I had my water. I went back to the circle room and the TV, which was playing Stuart Little, was now staticky. My popcorn that I had sitting on the table, the bowl was flipped fucking over. Like, the bowl was flipped over like something had, like, fucking did that. Popcorn was everywhere. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I just left the room for 2 seconds to get a water. And so I'm like, oh shit. Like, so I'm, like, trying to clean this shit up. I'm kind of cleaning the popcorn up because I don't want my grandma to get mad at me because she thought I spilled it. And, you know, I'm still, like, not that scared because, like, I'm a kid. I'm just like, okay, like, there's just stuff happening, whatever. I don't know why I didn't think it was a big deal. It's kind of creepy, but I thought maybe, like, I just did it somehow. Like, I really just blamed myself for it. But I know I wasn't even in the room, but I was like, maybe I just tipped it over before I left and I just didn't notice. Which I definitely did not do. I think I remember fucking flipping my popcorn bowl upside down, you know? And, like, Stuart Little being staticky. That was my favorite show. Why would I touch the TV to make it staticky in the first place? Anyways, I'm trying to clean this shit up, popcorn. I'm like kind of eating it too while I'm on the ground. Like, oh, you know how it is. And then like I hear someone say my name and I was like, oh, my grandma's calling me. And I was like, shit, like I'm gonna get in trouble. But I was like, okay. So I finished picking up the popcorn and I walked out of the circle room again and I was just like, Grandma? And she like wasn't responding. And then I heard someone say, Harley, again, like, but it was like a whisper kind of, and I remember being like I thought my grandma was just like joking with me, like she was pranking me or something, because I literally like walked into the kitchen, I looked around and I was like, that sounded like it came from right out here. And I was like looking around, couldn't find anything. So then I was like, okay, well, where's my grandma at? Because like I'm kind of freaked out now. Like someone just said my name. So then I ended up walking upstairs because I didn't find my grandma on the first floor. So I walked up the stairs and I'm like walking through the halls looking for her, and I finally find her, and she's just sitting in her office like working, and she's got like some music playing over here or whatever. And I was like, I like poked my head and I was like, Grandma, like what did you want? Like why were you saying my name? And she was like, what? I'm working. And I was like, yeah, but like you said my name, like did you want me to get something for you, or like did you want something from me? She's like, I never said your name, Harley. And I was like, well, someone fucking said my name, and I know no one else is home, so what the fuck? And I just was like, oh, okay, well, I really thought I heard you. And she was like, no, I haven't called your name. She's like, is Stuart Little done? Like, why are you up here? I was like, oh, the TV's broken. And she was like, oh, okay, like, I'll fix it. And I was like, okay. Because I guess, like, the staticky TV thing happened a lot, which, you know, could just be, like, really shitty cable. But also, like, it was just random timing, I guess. Especially with the popcorn thing. Little suspicious. But she's like, okay, like, I'll fix it. It's fine. And so she went back downstairs with me, and she fixed the TV, and there was some popcorn on the ground still. And she's like, did you steal your popcorn? And I was like, no. And she was like,
okay, well, just make sure you clean up.
I was like, okay, it's cool. Like, I wanted to tell her that I didn't do it, but then I didn't see any other explanation for, like, how the popcorn got, like, how it was, and how the TV sounded like someone or something had hit it, and, like, that's what made it staticky. I don't know. I just remember that being my first, like, big memory in that house, and then the other couple times I went over there, I heard my name many times. Like, it was always, like quiet. But, like, I think at some point I just started, like, ignoring it. I was like, okay, like, I'm literally just imagining stuff. Like, I was like, okay, like, my mind's playing tricks on me. And I didn't really tell anybody about it. Like, I was 5. I thought I was just being silly. Like, I was like, oh, no, like, I'm just not thinking right. Like, it's just me thinking stuff, like, overthinking everything. And, I guess my grandma also told me later on that, like, some old lady had, like, died in that house before they bought it, so that was cool. And I was like, after she told me that, I was kind of like, well, you know, it sounded like my grandma was talking whenever she'd say my name. And my grandma didn't do it. It had to be someone or something kind of like her, like, voice-wise. So I'm, like, sitting here and I'm like, shit, like, now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, damn, was this dead old lady, like, saying my name? Like, I don't, and you know, you might be like,
oh my god, like, you were just a kid, Harley, like, how do you know this even happened?
Because this is the only thing I can remember. This is, like, my core memory. This is a core memory that I've been thinking about since it happened when I was young. And, you know, like, lights flickering and stuff, like, they can be passed off as, like, an old house or whatever, but, like, how can you explain the popcorn? That part really got me. The popcorn, I literally heard my name. I heard my name so many times. And honestly, now that I'm saying it out loud, I literally, throughout, like, my whole kind of, like, as I was growing up, I heard my name so many times. Like, even when I got, like, kind of older, I guess, I remember, like, I'd be by myself somewhere, and I would hear someone say my name still. But, you know, like I said, I was getting older, and I was like, okay, you're just paranoid. Like, you're just overthinking everything. This is just weird, because, like, I like, always knew, like, I heard stuff when I was younger at my grandma's old house. But, like, now that I'm, like, saying it out loud, I'm like, damn, bitch, like, I've definitely, like, heard my name as I was growing up, like, people whispering my name when I'd be by myself in my house. I'm not schizophrenic, so can't be that. But that's kind of just, like, my first story of, like, something ever, like, kind of creepy, like, unexplainable happening to me. So for my next story, as I got older, I started, like, to understand the whole ghost thing more, I guess. Maybe we'll put the frog hat on. for this amazing story time I'm about to give. Yes. Does it look better up or down? I don't know. So, when I was about 12, maybe 14, 12 to 14, from ages 12 to 14, I'm not sure which one it was. But I used to have softball tournaments a lot, and they'd be out of like far away, like hours away. They could be in a different state. Like I never knew. And I had one in particular down somewhere in southern Indiana, I want to say it is. I don't really know in like reference to me where it is, but like anyways. So my family had like a camper, and we would just camp at like parks and stuff near the Diamond, because it was better than buying a hotel. That's just expensive. And my dad was like, yeah, we're going to this old park, like it's a historic park. And I was like, yes. I loved history, I still do. But he's like, we're going to this historic park, like it's called Mound State Park, and it's really cool. They've got like a bunch of Indian mounds and like historic places to visit, trails to hike. And I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds sick. And so like, I don't remember what I think my dad ended up being like, oh, and Harley, like it's supposed to be haunted. And I was like, because I was so into like ghosts and shit. I've always liked paranormal stuff. So like I was so excited. I was like, really? We're gonna get some action? And he was like, yeah, like it's supposed to be haunted by like these little Indian trolls. And I was like, oh. And I looked it up, and I guess it's supposed to be, I forget what they're called. They're like these little blue elf things. And I don't know, they were just supposed to like walk around during the night, and like they were blue. Like I'm thinking like Smurfs. I don't know, maybe they were Smurfs, I don't know. But that was like the article I read on it before we went. It was just like, oh, it's haunted by these little blue trolls. And I was like, oh, cool, okay. Well, me and my dad did go on one of the trails that night, and unfortunately we didn't see any blue trolls. But at this park, there was not only a bunch of like Indian mounds, and they had like Indian like burial kind of sites and shit. It was really cool, actually. They had this old house there. It was called the Brandenburg House. So brief history. So the Brandenburg House was built around like 1840, and it was built by Frederick Brandenburg, who came from Germany like around the 1800s, and then he moved to the United States, and he met his wife Barbara in Pennsylvania, and they had a bunch of kids, and they were kind of like on their way to go to Illinois, but they ended up just planting their house here in Mound State Park, which obviously wasn't that a park at the time, but you know. And I'm pretty sure it's in Anderson, Indiana, I think. I know it was like pretty far from my house, but like I think that's what I think it's in Anderson. Don't quote me on that, but like it might be. Anyways, there wasn't really anything that crazy tragic that really like happened that like would lead you to think this bitch would be haunted. It's just like old as shit, and it's cool looking, kind of creepy, it's kind of colonial vibes, you know. So anyways, I had a softball tournament, and I think I had like 5 games that day, and I played 3 of them, and then I had like a 4-hour break in between these games. So me and my family, we went back to the campground where we were staying at, Mound State Park, and my dad was like, oh hey, like, well, why we have like a couple hours to spare, do you just want to like go take a tour of the Brandenburg House? And you know, I was like, fuck yes, because history, cool. And I had my iPad, so I didn't have a phone. I had an iPad before I had a phone. So it's like the big ass thing, and I carried that shit around everywhere. And then he told me like it was really old and stuff, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna take pictures, and I'm gonna see if I can like find ghosts. Which, I'm gonna be honest, it's so fucking weird. Like, usually when I expect that shit, it doesn't happen, but like, oh, well, hold up, let me explain. I'm gonna see if I can find a couple pictures from my iPad. I'm gonna see if I can find a couple pictures from my iPad, like the original pictures I took on my iPad, because it was like a fun house. Like they had tours on the inside and stuff, and they had the inside like set up how like it would have been back in the day. They had like an outhouse that you could like take pictures in. Like I had some silly goofy pictures in there because I was such a quirky 14-year-old. So when we got to the house, we like stood outside of it and we were taking pictures, and they had like places where you could like take pictures with like your family and stuff. So me and my sisters and my brother, we all did that. It was fun, good times. And then like we finally got to the tour that was like on the inside, and so we went in and they like was showing us things, and like it was really cool. Like I took a bunch of pictures of that too, so I'll see if I can put some of those bitches up. But it was overall like a really fun time. I liked it a lot, and I took a ton of pictures. And so we eventually like left. We went back to our camper, and I'm sitting there on my iPad and I'm like scrolling through these pictures, and I'm like, cool. These are all cool pictures. Like I thought I was a photographer, bitch. I was like, damn, I'm really good. And then in one of the pictures, I kind of noticed something a little strange. So I took like the same picture from the same like position like 4 times, maybe 5 times. I literally sat there on my iPad and I said click, 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 in the exact same spot. Just cause like I thought it was cool, and I was like, I'm a photographer, like maybe one of these will be better than the other. Which obviously it was a fucking first generation iPad, so it's gonna be the shitty quality ones anyways, but like, you know, I thought I was good, okay? So I took a bunch of pictures from like one spot of like just like the front of the house, and like I was saying, one of them there was something weird. But these were all done at the same time, which is why I was kind of confused, because like I said, I went click, click, click. It wasn't like click, look around, do something else, click. It was me going like constant. But in only one of the pictures, there was something weird in the window. And I know this is sketchy as shit, but when I saw this thing in the window, I deleted all my other pictures because I took like 20 of them, and I didn't want it to like fill up all my space on my iPad. It didn't have a lot to begin with. I was trying to save space. I was already low on space. I was in my drawing phase. I had so many little drawings I had on my iPad, clogging up my entire photo album. Not good times. So with this picture, the first thing I really saw, to me, in my personal opinion, I thought it looked like there was a man peeking like from behind the curtain and staring at me. And I personally thought that was creepy as shit, but that is what I saw. I saw that as the nose, and then when you go up and kind of to the left, right about here, I was like, okay, this is an eye. This is an eye staring at me. And then I also kind of was like, but there's like little white pixel kind of things, like specks at the bottom too. So I kind of thought that looked like a beard, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, it's up to, like, I don't really know what to think. Either way, here, I'll even back out of it and erase all this stuff so that you can see for yourself. Do you see a man? Well, my dad says he sees a woman. So I asked him how, and he said, well, I see a woman looking down into the side like this. And I said, oh, I can see that too. But it also looks like a man to me, so I don't really know. So I originally saw it as a man staring at me from the window, like he was looking into my fucking soul. But then I like remember when I found it, I was like, oh my god. I was like, Dad, come here, like what the fuck is this? Like, look at this. And my dad took my iPad and he was looking at it. He's like, holy shit, like what did you just take a picture of? I said, I don't know. I said, Dad, I think it's a ghost. Like there's a ghost in my picture. I took a picture of a ghost. I was so proud of that. I was so proud. I still am. That is my prized possession today, is that fucking picture, because I literally, so first I was like, okay, this is like, it might just be like a reflection. It might just be like a reflection in the window. But that is a very distinctive reflection. There's no way. And it's not in any of the other windows. It's not in any of the other pictures. So why in just that one picture? So I originally saw it as a dude staring at me. My dad saw a woman or someone looking at like this angle, like looking down like this. And I, like when he said that, I was like, okay, I can kind of see it too. But I still feel like there's a dude staring at me. And then I like remembered, I took a picture of the plaque that was like standing outside the house, and it had like the Brandenburg house story on it, and it had a picture of Frederick Brandenburg. I'm gonna put this up here real fast. This is Frederick Brandenburg. And then this is the picture of the ghost. Do you see what I'm seeing? Do you see the nose, the beard? Like, it looks like him. Like the nose, Frederick Brandenburg has a very distinctive nose. I don't know if you can see this. Big nose. The ghost has a big nose. I just think it looks like Frederick Brandenburg is staring at me. So a couple years later, after this whole thing, I thought it was a crazy discovery. I showed like all my friends and everyone thought it was so cool, and I was. So a couple years later, I ended up like, I forgot the name of the park, and I went on like a 30-minute spree of like looking up, I don't know, historic parks around Indiana, and that's when I was like, okay, it's Mountain State Park. That's cool. And then I typed in Mountain State Park and I put ghost, and I just like was seeing like if I could find anything on that matter, and I found this article. It says that Mrs. Brandenburg is oftentimes seen in the window, which, you know, I can see it, but also like the sideways face looking down, that looks like Mrs. Brandenburg. But the dude staring at me, that's definitely Frederick, if I've ever seen a Frederick. Hey, what the fuck? No, not the nose ring, bitch, not the nose ring. Now I know this last picture was a lot to take in, and that's my best ghost story that I've ever had. But I do have more. If anyone is interested, I could do like a ghost stories too. Now I don't have that many more ghost stories, but I feel like it's enough to do a part 2 on it. But yes, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I would also like to ask you a few questions. Now, would you guys be interested, possibly, in me, I don't know, going to like abandoned kind of places? I have a friend. This is the specific instance I'm talking about. I have a friend who lives like 3 hours away, but she lives in a town where they have an abandoned insane asylum. And not saying that I'd go, but I would go if people wanted me to go. I would not go just for funsies because I'm scared, because I've never done anything illegal before, and technically I would be breaking and entering. But I'm just saying, if I had friends to go with, and my friend said she's broken and entered multiple times, I've never been caught, and so I was like, okay, like maybe I'll do it. But like, I want to know if you guys would want to see that, or you guys would want to see me talk more about ghosts, or like paranormal stuff, or like supernatural stuff, or like ghost stories, not specifically by me. If you guys have any ghost stories you'd like me to tell, I think that'd be cool too. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But you already know that. Say bye, Zuko. Yeah, okay. He says bye. Alright, we're gonna wrap the video up. So thank you so much again for watching. Bye!